Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So my name's Katie and today we're going to be talking about some popular books that I'm never going to read. So I did this video like a year and a bit ago, the version of it called the anti-TBR tag, which was created by my lovely friend Nicole, whom I love very much. Her channel is Nicole and her books. But it's been a while and I feel like certain other books have got popular since then, so I wanted to sort of do another iteration of this video. Although I'm not going to do it in the tag format this time, I'm just going to talk about some books that are popular that I don't really have any interest in reading. So hopefully this is like entertaining. And I feel like with the rise of BookTok, there has been a surge in a certain like genre of book. I don't really know how to like, I don't really know exactly what the genre is, but I feel like it's one that I don't have much interest in. Like, I sort of want to start a BookTok, but also I feel like I read like adult fantasy and sci-fi and like a bit of romance, but not the kind of romance that I feel like a lot of, well, I guess some popular romances, but I don't know. So I'm still debating whether to start a BookTok or not, but it is interesting to like watch the trends, and I feel like a lot of the trends are like books that were popular a long time ago, and because it's mainly teenagers, I feel like, or not mainly teenagers, but a lot of teenagers use TikTok, they're discovering books that like we all read when we were teenagers. So now we think they're like old, but they're discovering them for the first time, so they're getting popular again. I don't know, it's interesting. I guess we'll start with some like sci-fi and fantasy books I have no interest in reading. So slash horror. So the first author I really don't have much interest in reading is Stephen King. I do sort of want to maybe try like one of his books. I guess that's completely the opposite point of this video, but honestly I just don't really have any interest. Like, I feel like the kind of horror I like is not the type of horror that he writes, but also I feel like I've heard his books aren't like straight up horror. I think a lot of them are more like fantasy or like weird dystopian concepts, but for some reason I just have no interest. So yeah, I don't think I'll be reading any of his books. I've also heard some of them have like really weird things. Like, I swear there's like a child orgy in one, which is just like a big red flag. Yeah, maybe if something came out like new that sounded really interesting, I'd read it, but other than that I don't really have any interest. And then some some authors that I've read books from before, but if they brought out any future books I definitely would not be interested in. So Brent Weeks, who wrote the Black Prism series, I read the first one, hated it. I'm never going to read any of his other books. Jim Butcher I feel like is on thin tethers, because I love the Codex Alera books and I loved Aeronauts Windless. So if a sequel ever comes out to Aeronauts Windless, I will read it. But I hated Dresden Files with like a burning passion, so I feel like that one I would not read any of those books. And if he brought out like a completely new series, I think I would have to see. But yeah, another author on my like shit list. I feel like I could put The Eye of the World on this list as a joke, but I do want to read it. I just never get to it. So that is I feel like it probably does have a place on this list, but I promise I will read it one day, which I've been saying since the start of my booktube channel, but I will get to it. Oh, maybe I'll have to read it when I go on holiday next week. I don't think that's gonna happen, to be honest. Also, so Game of Thrones, I feel like I'm never gonna read the books. I like the TV show when it was first, well, not when it's first out, because I feel like I started watching it when there were already 7 seasons out. So I watched like all 7 seasons and I really loved it, and then I just completely lost interest with the 8th season. I never watched the like final few episodes because I don't know, like I went from loving it to just being like, I don't care, which I think was quite a universal experience in a way, and I guess that just put me off reading the books completely. So I feel like a lot of people like to read the book and then watch the TV show or movie, but I'm actually the other way around. I tend to prefer watching the like TV show first, which I think is interesting. I don't know why I like that more, but yeah, I don't know, I just lost interest in the books after that. And I feel like, I don't know, certain type of high fantasy which I feel like I've maybe gone off a bit. I don't know. No, I like, because I don't know, because a lot of my favourite series are that like really high epic fantasy, but maybe they're like more like grim dark, like classic epic fantasy is not really my thing. I don't know, because I love like this like kind of Stormlight Archive and those things, but I feel like they have an inherently like slightly more cheesy undertone to them, whereas I don't like this sort of really like grim like medieval type books so much. I don't know, because the grimdark that I quite like Joe Abercrombie stuff, almost feels a bit more like industrial revolution-y, which I quite like. So yeah, anyway, I don't know about that. This video is completely getting off topic, but so anyway, back to the popular books I'm not going to read. So we're going to talk about now some more like romancy TikTok popular authors. So Colleen Hoover, who has like, I don't know, I feel like I never heard about her that much when I first started BookTube and things, but I had definitely heard of her, but now I feel like her books are like just literally everywhere and so popular. But I just have no interest in them. At first I thought they were thrillers, but apparently they're all romances, or like a couple of them are maybe like thriller romances, but I don't know, they just sound really like weird and just not, I don't know, I think maybe it's the sort of like toxic type relationship that I don't have much interest in. I only like it occasionally, like I feel like especially in a fantasy book where there's this just like really toxic relationship that you just can't look away from. But in like a contemporary romance, I don't like toxic relationships, and I've seen some like quotes like floating around on Twitter that just sound so weird. Like there's this one where this couple are talking about their baby, and like the woman says to the man, "Oh, he got his big balls from you." Like that's just such a weird, like straight people I'll never understand them. But yeah, so anyway, don't really have any interest in any of her books. Another book that's gotten like popular recently, and I can't actually remember if I ever read this like when I was young, when I was like 13, 14, and that's We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I definitely don't have any interest in reading any E. Lockhart books. I think it's like a YA thriller type book, but I just don't have any interest at all, and I don't know why it's suddenly got like really popular, because I swear a lot of people used to like hate on it, but now suddenly it's popular, so it's weird. So yeah, I don't have any interest in that one, and I think it's all like rich people drama as well, which I don't know, doesn't really interest me that much. Yeah, and along like, well, I guess it's not really along similar lines, but there's this series that I've seen popping up quite a lot recently called the Zodiac Academy, and I like looked into it because I thought it sounded like a sort of maybe like fantasy YA type thing, but I think it's like actually a bully romance, so I was like, no, not interested in that, sorry. Yeah, so I won't be reading that one. I don't even know who it's by, so just not interested. I feel like a lot of like contemporary YA I'm just not interested in, even if it sounds like, sometimes things like sound good, but I just know that they won't be like executed how I want them. Like I feel like certain concepts would be great for me, obviously they're great for teens, but it would be great for me if they were like an adult book, but then because they're a YA book they feel a bit different. But I mean, that's still like, I'm not, YA books are very important, but just like for my personal reading taste, I know I probably wouldn't like it, so there's no point in me reading it, if that makes sense. Also, some of the like fantasy romance books I've seen popular on BookTok, I don't really know how much interest I have in them. Sometimes I think, should I? But then other times I'm like, So if you've seen like Guild or something by Raven Kennedy, which is like, I think a King Midas retelling or something, that has tempted me once or twice, but I ultimately think I would not like it. And then like the Touch of Darkness, those type of books, I feel like they're the books that are like slightly tempting, but I know I would hate them, so I don't think I'm ever gonna read them. And yeah, I feel like a lot of that, like, and sometimes it annoys me like BookTok describing books as like spicy, because they're not spicy. I don't know, but I guess like maybe it just comes from like teenagers, and anything with like the tiniest bit of smut is like, but yeah, I think that's all the books I'm going to talk about in this video. So I hope you enjoyed, and let me know in the comments some books you're planning on like never reading. I would love to know, very nosy. And especially if they're any of my like favourite books, because I love a bit of tea. So yeah, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And I hope everyone is having a really great day, and I will see you next time.